here to talk today about the improvised community movement, which is a fascinating footnote in the history of urban planning that led to countless hilarious examples of civil unrest. So to really understand this piece of our history and how it came to be, I like to show this quote: "You never fail until you stop trying." And the reason why I highlight it is because you do stop trying sometimes. And one such time in our history was the 1960s. Now, the 1960s, a lot has been written about it. It was a really turbulent time in urban areas, and this posed a challenge to designers of urban spaces. At this time, a city planner by the name of Beatrice Wexley drew inspiration from the improv movement of theater, which relied on three basic principles, and I have them listed here. One, the way my group does improv is right and yours is either wrong, or if it's right, you're not as good at it as I am, and either way you should pay me for lessons. Number two was, a comedy show shouldn't aim to be funny because humor comes out of the truth, or the truth punched up with dick jokes. And finally, number three, we use space work techniques to create an improvised world. Now, Beatrice really honed in on that third one and concluded that perhaps the solution to the urban crisis was, quote, a community based upon a consensual shared imagining underpinned by foundational improv techniques and dick jokes, end quote. So essentially what this revolutionary idea entailed was putting improvisers in a theater or other venue, instructing them to improvise a community and having this improv continue unstopped 24/7. Now, this was the 60s where experimental theater was in with the liberal set, while more conservative city leaders quickly picked up on the cost savings of a city with no need for housing, schools, or even basic infrastructure apart from the electricity and sewer needed for the venue, and sewer they felt was largely optional. So the first ever improvised community, which was called Urban Renewal Comedy Night Live, began in a very small venue in Brooklyn. Now, all that was necessary to join this live community was some high school level improv classes, with a test score of 20% or higher being a pass. At first, Urban Renewal Comedy Night Live was a remarkable success, spawning other cities to try similar communities, such as Philadelphia's Laughing Streets Project and Detroit's Crimety Sports. But before long, tensions within the imaginary borders grew. You had car chases, rampant crime, sex farces, mistaken identities. This rapidly escalated to incredible riots live on stage. Now, it's important to highlight that these riots were not what you think when you think riot. They were totally safe. To the improvisers, the stakes may have seemed very high, the emotions may have been running hot, but these were completely safe riots. It was just theater, it was just acting. And to the audience, and there were many witnesses at the time to these riots in the audience, these riots were described as the funniest thing I've seen all month, and a tremendous display of physical comedy, which they really were. They consisted of stage combat and imaginary weaponry. The improvisers broke character and walked out of their mimed prison bars, and that destroyed the reality of the scene and in effect ended the Urban Renewal Comedy Night Live and its equivalents. Improvised cities have been considered a failed, if hilarious, experiment, and no one has attempted one since, although I hear that this Saturday a group in Tacoma, Washington called Fool's Play is going to attempt it. So, I urge everyone here to seek out that show, because an improvised city populated by characters that are generated by the audience is just destined to be a complete disaster as a model for urban living, but a hysterical example of comedy. They've put riot in the name of the show, so it's just gonna be a lot of fun. Again, that's Saturday, April 30th at 9 p.m. Do we have any questions? Okay, yes. For those who couldn't hear, the question was, what kind of lightsaber would you like to have? I go into that in my book, Improvised Communities, The Shame of Our Lifetime, and you'll have to read the book for that. Okay, well, we don't have any more questions, so thanks everybody for your time. Foolsplay.net.